Ari, I mean, Ari, this is Fantastic Force 162 by Roger Thompson and Rich Fulcher. It is part 3 of the IT Conspiracy, a Fantastic Force story involving the multiverse and other dimensions. And this cover has two things. I thought one was bad enough. Our other thing is Mr. Fantasticals of Earth A. Earth A is an alternative reality where the main difference is the origin of Fantastic Force went differently. I will call him Thing A. Thing A was defeated and taken prisoner by John Carter back in part 1 of the story, so you are forgiven for forgetting that entirely. It is over here with graphics that we learn the nature of John Carter's scheming. He has put 3 different worlds to war with each other and intends to use the wars to generate enough atomic energy so that his own planet will survive its constant need for energy. I've not shown it so far, but there was an Andy book, one of the 2000s ones. It had an entry for this story, and it came with a similar graphic, but now with imagery included and less sideways text to read. I didn't show it because technically there's stuff on that page that spoils this story for you. Our 3 worlds are the 5th dimension, which is depicted at the top of this page, a rubbish little world that Human Fire has developed a love for. There is the main world, and then there is Earth A. And if you like Lord Dumpin', it's definitely the comic for you. Here we see how John Carter has orchestrated attacks on each of these worlds, leaving behind clues pointing to one of the other Earths as the culprit. So the 3 different worlds will be going back and forth between attacking each other. It's trying its best to overcomplicate what is actually a pretty simple idea. Earth attacks the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension attacks Earth A. Earth A attacks Earth. It is a cycle that will then reverse in retaliation, but it will never end. I think the problem is, and it's quite readily apparent, Fantastic Force, the main characters, they are struggling to be main characters in this story. Here, we have a random caveman attack Mr. Fantasticals and Invisible Wife, since they are the most disconnected from the main events. The stuff with them, with Mr. Fantasticals selling out, I wish that had a bit more meat to it. It gets some reasonable amount of build-up and space, but by this issue, it is nothing more than part of John Carter's scheme. There should be more ramifications that should in turn allow Mr. Fantasticals a larger part to play in the storyline. What happens is Mr. Fantasticals, he is, no explanation for this, he is somehow mentally contacted by Thing A. Remember folks, Thing A is his reality's Mr. Fantasticals. I don't know why I'm telling you to remember that. It doesn't explain this magical telepathy. This does, however, also point out something I hadn't really thought on though. We've had this story, and we have this character. We have thing A. And thing A has only been used with regards to thing. We haven't even bothered to explore Mr. Fantastical's or his response, or what thing A means to him. This is my common criticism of Fantastic Force, but I admit it is a criticism I would lob at Fantastic Force from 1998 onwards, more than the oldies. So I won't earl it here. It's called Fantastic Force, not Fantastic Thing. We get some more backstory, Lord Dumburn, about Earth A and the IT company. Something that has been on the back of my mind about this run. In my last haul video, or maybe it was the one before last, I got another issue of this run. The one with Torgo. The return of the Silver Age mechanoid Torgo. Now my, and maybe your, gut response to seeing that by itself is, oh, that is cool. Roger Thompson brings back that hard character, Torgo. Then I started thinking about this story. A story where Roger Thompson brings Earth A back from a random Barney Baldwin story. He brings back the Fifth Dimension from a dopey human fire solo story in Strange Adventures. He drags in John Carter of Arse from Avengers comics. Some of his other stories on Fantastic Force feature The Brute from an Alan Watson story, Destroyer Droid from Thor comics, 50s Marvel superhero Uranus Boy, and the previously one-off Fantastic Force foil Unposable Man. Is that all he is doing? Is that all Roger Thompson is doing on Fantastic Force? Running through a catalogue of continuity as a means to temporarily excite someone like me? I never really spotted it before, and I still do like some of the ambition of this story, but it feels a lot more hollow when you consider that Earth A and the Fifth Dimension, they are returning as part of this story because Roger Thompson's only real direction or idea is bringing odd things back and making you feel excited that there is continuity. It's honestly not too dissimilar to Kurt Busey's entire shtick. It might be the case that my feelings fade over time, but they are parts of this story, this issue, that reinforce or hammer home my view. The IT company, for example, that was something new Roger Thompson brought, and it doesn't really pay off. There's no satisfying revelation or closure to that part of the story. The guy is working for John Carter, that is it. That's all that comes of it. I admit, I find the line, "Please don't hurt me, I can't stand pain," that made me laugh a lot. But it is disheartening to see a story that has a lot going for it maybe not even be remotely artistically thoughtful. It might just be continuity porn disguised as an epic, with any new idea being space ockigoli. I skipped half the issue because this completely bolsters my point. this is an original Roger Thompson idea. This is what he has brought to the comic. Well, he even admits it's inspired by a Jack Quimby character from the Eternals. That is an original Roger Thompson idea right there. Earth A, the Fifth Dimension, Torgo, Destroyer Droid, Cheetah, Unpausable Man, the Frightful Four, Galactus Man, the I-Digivolutionary, Uranus Boy, the Bruce. These are all fun things to see, sure, but they were all other people's ideas. They were created by other people. Roger Thompson's contribution is Guards, the Okigoli in space, who he confesses is ripped off from another character. Now, I am not dissing Guard. Guard has received enough hate over the years. I will talk about him next issue. But yeah, Thing, the main Thing, he wound up in space at the nexus point between the three worlds, and now is faced with this ridiculous character created by Roger Thompson and Rich Fulcher. God. Again, I get the air of Kurt Busey from it. Look at Kurt Busey's creations. Triathlon from Avengers. He is rubbish, and he could form a partnership with God easily. This issue is okay. Maybe it's that a lot of it is spent explaining shit and detailing backstory, allowing my mind to think too much about what Roger Thompson is really doing. I'll give it 7 thumbs up, but like the character God is a Jack Quimby character, I confess that 7 thumbs up is from Homer Simpson in the season 11 episode of The Simpsons. Guess who's coming to criticise dinner? And on the topic of Simpsons jokes, I'm seeing double here. 4 things. Classic that one, come on. Classic Simpsons gag.